Hi, I'm Shereen Noon, and I am here in Corona del Mar, California. I am having a little chat with my friend Andrew Wallace.
Everybody that's watching this, our whole intention for this is to help share some of the things that we've learned along our journey up to this point. And so it's, instead of a competition, we look at it as a big group or union where we're synergistically working together because information's flowing freely. If we can share some of our aspects, we're getting it from other sources as well. So, it's got to ebb and flow that way. And I don't think anybody should be so concerned with the greed and the selfish, self-centered. That's not the way wealth works as far as I understand it. So.
Right. And, some people may think, or people who want to get into investing or they're beginning entrepreneurs, they may think, well, I can't really start anything without capital. And yet, with, YouTube and with the internet, with being able to access all this information for free, anyone really can pretty much do whatever they want to do as long as they spend the time and they believe in themselves to access that free information and implement it and make it do something for them, whatever their intentions are, whatever their goals are.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Lack of money is kind of an excuse, and lack of knowledge is really the bigger thing, because what I learned the hard way was, again, you said it earlier, it's capitalism that we're dealing with here. What is capitalism? I mean, I haven't heard too many, I've been to so many seminars and read so many books and, listened to home study courses and all this kind of stuff, and people don't address the basic concept of what capitalism is. And I started kind of putting things together myself, and I'm like, capitalism is based on capital. What is capital? We've all got to learn to borrow money. That's what corporations do, but we don't borrow it in our own names. That's the other thing that I learned, is that you've got to learn to set up entities. You're going to have to learn that part of the business, because it's like a game board, and your corporations and your land trusts and, all these different entities that you can utilize or leverage to your benefit. That's the way the game is set up. That's the way the wealthy people play the game. That's the way, that you decrease your liability, increase your possibility of success. Because most businesses fail because of lack of capital.
Right.
They run out of money before they get to a point when they can actually create a profit.
Right.
And when they do create that profit, they don't have anything in place, if they're a sole proprietor, for instance, that's going to insulate them from tax liability, from lawsuits, from, personal liability, frivolous things that could happen. So I think that that's a part of the game that not enough people emphasize early on.
So you think people should definitely take their sole proprietorships to one step higher, just so that they have more
I think sole
leverage?
Proprietorship should be outlawed, to be honest, because 90% of people that are doing sole proprietorships, and I know CPAs across the country are, you're like, shut this guy up, but seriously, you're a sitting duck if you're doing it that way. And anybody that's telling you to do it that way is basically telling you to not pay your taxes and to try and avoid and look over your shoulder and hope you don't get caught doing stuff. Let's learn to do business in the proper way, with the proper licenses, with the proper entities. This is a part of the game that I hear all these people talk about: make money, make money, make money. What I've learned is what I'm trying to do here is create revenue. Create revenue this is where I think my ideology differs from a lot of people out there, because I'm looking at things, money is another energy. It's an eternal thing, and it needs to flow in order to grow. And so, like water, it needs to keep flowing to stay pure. If it sits, it gets bacteria-ridden, disease, just like blood. If it's not flowing through your body and it clogs, you're going to have problems. Same thing with money. If you stick it under a mattress, it's already losing value, whether because of deflation. Inflation's going to drive down the worth of those dollars. So it's a viscous thing that keeps moving. If we don't learn to generate the flow and to guide it in the pools that we want it to go to in order to create a greater public good, for instance. Maybe it's not an accident that the wealthiest people have foundations and nonprofits and things, because they're doing better for the public. You got to give back at a certain point. So it's a circular mentality that I'm looking at it as. Just making money is so simplistic, but it's just so basic, and we really need, again, there's information out there. So accessing the proper way to do things, looking at it in the proper context, getting out of this selfish, self-centered, it's me, I'm making the money, I'm the investor. Nobody's a real estate investor until you have a few $100,000 or more to play with. You're borrowing money and you're doing a business. So if you don't approach it with that business mentality, you're setting yourself up for hard times until you learn how to do that. And I think that's a big reason why a lot of people lose their fortunes the first couple times around because they haven't had a chance to learn the proper ways. They learn the hard way. They get hammered by a lawsuit or an audit or something that puts them out of business, and all of a sudden they're like, damn, I got to go back to the drawing board and start over. It's usually, I think, the third time is when they actually keep the wealth they created.